the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Times into his career. So, yeah, and I mean, I think we could see more of that too, especially if an injury here or there happens. We could see more of that movement around with Brooks being a little more versatile and then trying their hand at a few different options, and maybe we're just seeing from the talking points in fall camp.
I like it. Ethan, right up your alley. Felix Okpara, year one expectations coming in from Ohio State. What are you most excited about him in this Rick Barnes system? Biggest concern you have about him replacing Jonas Aidoo as the starting five, and one thing that you're most interested in seeing him evolve from what you've seen from Ohio State to now?
Yeah, obviously I knew some about Okpara from Ohio State before he came here. Everything post transfer though, I mean, I've learned right from Ryan from Rocky Top Insider. You know, the lob threat is the thing I am absolutely most excited about. With Zakai, I think that's just going to be perfect. He was great at Ohio State in that aspect. I mean, he's a freak athlete. That's his whole thing. He's going to be around the same, if not more, defensive production than Jonas Aidoo was giving you last year. I cannot be more excited about that. The one thing he's got to improve on, and I think I said this a couple pods ago, is just some more moves, some more touch around the rim. I mean, he shot 58% last year. That's better than Aidoo by a couple percentage points. He was obviously, I mean, the dude's 6'11". He's going to be good around the rim, but can he consistently win with his back to the basket? That's what I'm most interested in seeing. He did it some at Ohio State, not necessarily insanely consistent, but he showed the ability to do it in a conference that's probably worse than the SEC, or is worse than the SEC, moving up a level, obviously, this season. He's going to be fun at the very least. He's going to be so much fun on offense, I think. Zakai is the perfect guy to be able to get him the ball, because that's his specialty on offense. He's fantastic at that. And yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. He's going to be a good player. If he can develop that, he could be a great player for Tennessee.
He's such a high floor guy, right, Ryan, in the system? I just feel like Okpara is just a high floor. Like, I don't think his ceiling's as high as Aidoo, but I think his floor is just very, very high. And it's just like, I don't see a path where Okpara and, like, to Ethan's point, him and Zakai don't have a great connection, and Okpara is not a huge net positive defensively as an anchor for Tennessee.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he's an incredibly high floor. And, you know, this season, I don't know how high the ceiling is from a scoring total, but yeah, I'm pretty bullish on him just from the one practice we did get to watch, and what I've heard talking to some people. I mean, his motor was really impressive that day in the practice, and like his fatigue, because I mean, Tennessee scrimmaged for a long time, and JP Sterling and Cam Carr did not go, which meant it was basically the same 9 scholarship guys and 1 walk-on the entire time. And he was just his stamina was incredibly impressive. I think he's going to be the best post defender of Rick's tenure. I think he'll definitely be better than Jonas, better than Kyle Alexander, better than these Pons. He plays with such, you know, you watch basketball sometimes, and Jonas had some of this where you watch a big man play and there's just so much frustration that they don't just go up with aggression and dunk the ball. And he plays that way. What he doesn't have in maybe offensive skill, he plays with decisiveness around the rim, and just a feeling that he kind of has that Tobe ability, where Tobe was going to dunk. He when he went up, Tobe was like, I'm going to dunk it every single time. Problem was, like, Tobe was like 6'8" and not the most athletic dude in the world, so he couldn't always dunk it every time. I think Felix has a lot of that with a 6'11", incredibly long wingspan, athletic body to go along with it.
I'll add also really quick to that. I mean, yeah, I feel like the one thing he's kind of got to work on also that I forgot to mention a little bit is turnovers. I don't think he was fantastic in that department. But to the contrary of that, I think he has better hands than Jonas did. I think he's going to be better in that regard, because I feel like that's where half that frustration that Ryan's talking about came from. Jonas, it could be so good if he could just catch the ball more than like 75% of the time, which seems high, but like you got to be able to do that if you're going to be a center in the SEC and produce regularly enough to be that great player that I was saying, move from good to great. And I think he can do that for that reason.
Comparison I have for him, and I think he'll block more shots than him, but Dante Hall at Alabama on that team with like Petty's freshman year and Colin Sexton. I'm just looking at his numbers now. He had averaged 10 and 5, 18 or 10.5 points per game, 8.8 rebounds a game, only 1.6 blocks per game. I think the block numbers will definitely be a step higher, but from a points rebound standpoint, it just kind of the way he plays, the way his game is, that's kind of the comparison I would make.
That's good. I mean, I think he'll be solid. I do wonder, spacing will be different, and Barnes is going to have to adjust because if he goes Estrella and Okpara for most of these lineups, shooting's got to be at a premium. You evolved a little bit. I'm curious what his lineups look like around these guys, because these are not guys who are going to stretch out to 3-point land like Jonas did a season ago.
But Jonas didn't do that.
But Jonas was still not around he was not sitting inside. Like Jonas was.
Yes, but JP
was kind
can
of at the top of the key.
JP, well, I think those guys will move around fine
Okay.
in the way they run their offense. Yes, Jonas was a mid-range shooting threat that Okpara is not. I think Estrella can be that level of threat. Jonas made 2 threes last year, so it wasn't like anybody was out there respecting him shooting the 3-pointer.
Which is just, I mean, you've watched a lot of practice. I mean, he has good form and everything else. It feels like Jonas should be a really good 3-point shooter. Like he should have some Brick Lopez to him. It drives me nuts. Like, because I think he's a good shooter. Like he
hit 2, and it's funny. I made a joke about it to Ben McKee after both in the 2 exhibition games last year. He hit a 3 in both of them, so he had 2 threes in the first 2 times we watched him in exhibition games. And I said he's going to waste all those threes here in exhibition games that don't count. And I seriously think he made 2 the rest of the season. But
if he transfers to Asheville instead of Arkansas, does he lead the nation in 3-pointers made?
Say that again.
If he transfers to Asheville this offseason instead of Arkansas, does he lead the nation in 3-pointers made? Is he a 50-point guy?
I don't know if he's a 50-point guy. I do think at Arkansas you'll see him shoot a lot more threes.
That'd be a great bit though. Like the Barnes exodus to the 3 and out or 5 out system at Asheville. Like Vol fans who want to get away for a weekend be like, what happened to so and so? Like it didn't really work out in terms of the scoring. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like Pember was awesome at Asheville for the last 2 years. Like Pember, electric stuff. The Beard and Bulldog. Like that would be kind of funny if we saw it. Like maybe it's Cade Phillips next year. He goes and he's 28, 8-8 at Asheville, and he's just lighting it up. Like he's launching 4 or 5 threes a game. Like I want Asheville to be like the 9th or 10th guy at Tennessee.
Might have the literal exact opposite game.
Not when you get to Asheville. Asheville, when you get to Asheville, like things change. Like there's just something about the area when you get there. The Biltmore, the vibe is different. You get to relax. I think a lot of these guys, they get to kind of unwind when they get to Asheville. It's less.
Chase, I know you just see these 6'8" white guys from the Southeast, and you think they're all the same.
I said Adu first. I was moving Adu, and he was going to have a Pember type renaissance in Asheville instead of Arkansas. Like I'm just saying, like any defensive first big, or like any big who are like, I think he could shoot if he would actually shoot in this offense or at Tennessee. I think he'd be okay, and he doesn't. Tobe would be an all-timer.
Lou Evans didn't have another year. It's a shame Lou Evans didn't have another year. He could.
Pember's out too, right? Pember doesn't have another year at Asheville.
No, he's gone, I think.
That's not fair. Pember should have gotten an unlimited scholarship. Pember should have been allowed to play basketball at UNC Asheville for as long as he wanted. I'm not kidding. I probably watched all of his highlights for the last 2 years. Every Pember highlight tape. It's money. Dude was electric.
Speaking of Jonas, some great content from Grant Ramey's Twitter via Rod Clark's Instagram story, in which it has like Tennessee put up a new banner for the 2017 in Pratt Pavilion, a new banner for the 2017-18 SEC championship team, and then also this past year's. And it's like these banners aren't like a banner in a stadium, so it's got the championship and some sort of logo and the players. And there's 6 Tennessee players in this picture for the new one, and Jonas is not one of them, which is just fantastic content.
Who is that? I'm looking at it now. Santi, Connect, Gainey, Meshack, Sakai, and who's in the bottom right? Is that Triple J? Yeah.
Feels
Ryan
bad.
Schumpert, what can the good folks check out from you over at Rocky Top Insider this week?
Plenty of stuff. Fall camp is, well, not really fall camp, but Tennessee football as we get closer and closer to season. Should have some Tennessee basketball schedule stuff this week while we're on that topic. So we'll have stuff there, and then anything else that pops up, we'll have our RTI podcast. A lot of people love it. A lot of people say it's one of the best podcasts. But we'll have everything you need to know.
There you go. And they love us in the comment section.
They love the Chase Thompson podcast too, and they think I'm a really positive guy too.
Yes, that's what many are saying. Ethan Stone, what about you all across the internet this week?
Yeah, I'm building up some evergreen stuff at SDS before the start of the season. We're doing like historical profiles of each SEC team, obviously including the newcomers, Texas and Oklahoma. I'm building out some coaching stuff right now. Been working on that for like the past couple months here. As we get started going into the season, I'll be doing news content, probably some pieces over at SDS Weekly for that too. I'm pumped to start watching and writing about football again, man.
There you go. I love it. Ryan Schumpert, Ethan Stone, always a pleasure, and I'll talk to y'all next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.